Hey guys, and this is Bluevy back here with another video, and today we do have my top 10 movies of 2020 ranking video. Before we get into that, just wanted to quickly say some films in this list were released in America in 2019, so just to clear that up, of course into the UK we get some films later than the US. Same in my last year's 2019 ranking video, there were some films from 2018, so yeah, just to clear that up, that leads me on to my second point. Some movies that came out in the US and are considered really good, that are in a lot of people's top 10 lists, have not been released in the UK yet. I'll put a few posters on the screen right now, films that I really want to see that I think would probably make this list. But yeah, they've not been released here, so those will be included in next year's video, just to clear that up. Of course, I do have some honourable mentions. I will not mention them individually. I'll just put images of those films on the screen right now. These are all really good films that I really recommend you guys all go and check out if you are film buffs. Some really good movies up there. So please go and watch these films. They're really good. Unfortunately, I just could only fit 10 movies into the list, and it was really hard to make, but I had to put 10 in, and some films I left out I was sad to leave out, but unfortunately I had to. So those are my honourable mentions. So enough of me rambling, let's get into my top 10 movies of 2020 ranking. So coming in at number 10, we do have a thriller from Todd Haynes, and that is Dark Waters, starring Mark Ruffalo. Now, I watched this film on Amazon about midway during 2020. This came out in 2020 in the UK, and it was a really solid thriller. One of my favourite thrillers of the year. Mark Ruffalo gave one of his best performances to date. I still think he's probably better in Spotlight than in this one, but still really good. Please go check this movie out. Really good cinematography and a really interesting subject matter. I actually think this was actually better than Spotlight. I just think Mark Ruffalo's performance was not so good. But yeah, a really interesting subject matter. It does get your blood boiling. Very frustrating to watch, really sad towards the end too. So yeah, that is Dark Waters at number 10, a really solid thriller that I recommend you guys all go and check out. Coming in at number 9, we do have my favourite animated movie of the year, and that is Pixar's new film that was released on Christmas Day on Disney+, and that is Soul. Now, there were some things I wasn't too keen on about this film. For example, I did not think there was enough jazz. I didn't think the soundtrack was as good as it could have been, you know, with all the jazz theme around the film. I still think it was a delightful story. I do agree when some people say, you know, this isn't a kid's film. The themes are very mature, and if I was a kid, I would definitely struggle to understand it. But it's still, you know, one of those Pixar films you just can't understand how they were so creative when making this movie. You know, really good voice acting. I mean, the animation, this is probably my favourite looking Pixar animated film. Looks incredible. Just a shame about the soundtrack, really. If the soundtrack was better, just like Ratatouille or Up or Toy Story, then I do think this movie would have shot up a bit. I just didn't think they utilised, you know, the jazz aspect of the movie, but still, it's a lovely adventure that I think some kids will enjoy, some kids may not enjoy it, but some really lovely themes in there too that are really new. We've never seen in a Pixar film before. So at number 9, we do have Soul. Number 8, we do have Guy Ritchie's Return to His Best, and that is The Gentleman. This film was a joy to watch, some amazing performances. My highlight in this film, though, was Colin Farrell. I love him always. In Bruges is my favourite performance from him. But in this film, he was incredible. So funny. This film is brutal, absolutely brutal. The language is terrible, but it's so good to get one of these films. You don't really get films like this anymore, you know, that don't really care and kind of have no bounds. But yeah, Guy Ritchie, back to his best. I still would probably pick Snatch over this one, but I think this one does beat Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. But yeah, the performances all around were great. Charlie Hunnam, Matthew McConaughey, etc. The list goes on. Really good film. Guy Ritchie's back to his best, guys. If you have not checked this movie out, please go and watch it. Really good gangster film. Definitely should have made my top 10. Number 7, we do have a film that I wasn't really expecting much from, by Taika Waititi, and that is Jojo Rabbit. Now, I didn't really know what to expect when I'm watching it. I know to expect a comedy, a drama, a sort of thriller about the war. But instead what I got was kind of everything put into one. It was a comedy, it was really funny. Taika Waititi was excellent in it, and I just love him as a director. I love what he's done with The Mandalorian too, quite briefly. But yeah, he's a great director. And the tone of this movie was just so amazing. I mean, toning this film was perfect. If you want to learn how to do toning, then please go and watch this film, because the tone was so consistent, yet so inconsistent at the same time, if that makes any sense. But yeah, cinematography was good. Soundtrack was good. Acting was amazing. The story was so unique, yet so compelling. I mean, there were some scenes in there that just broke my heart. And also, Scarlett Johansson was really good in this one too. I think she got loads of nominations for this and Marriage Story. I do think she was better in Marriage Story, but in this one she was still fabulous as usual. Really good film, and this should definitely be my number 7. If you've not gone and seen this movie, just like every film in this list, please go and watch it. Number 6 is my favourite Netflix movie of the year, and that is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Now, I had no clue what to expect when watching this film. I watched it with my dad. We sat down, we did not know what to expect. and it was just a joy from beginning to end. And you know, my standout was Chadwick Boseman. I thought he was incredible in this film. Viola Davis was really good, don't get me wrong, but not just because he obviously very sadly passed away. I just thought this performance was his best performance easily. The Five Bloods unfortunately did not make this list. Within my honourable mentions, I thought the film was actually quite overrated. But I thought Chadwick was good in that film. But in this film, he is just amazing. He absolutely excels in his role in this movie. And I mean, the ending was one of the best endings of the year too. If you've not seen this film, it's on Netflix. It's so easy to watch. Please go and watch it. I feel like it went massively under the radar. Got no love when it came out, really. A lot of people, you know, it's got like a 3.6 on Letterboxd. Doesn't get too much love, but I definitely think it's one of the best films of the year. I don't really get why people are hating on it a bit. You know, it's not really being talked about in terms of award season, if there is one. But yeah, amazing film. 2 superb performances, but really good performances all around. Lovely cinematography, some really good music in there. And yeah, loved it, and so happy to watch this one. And definitely go and watch it if you've got Netflix. Number 5, we do have Sam Mendes' war epic, and that is 1917. Now, I was really worried when watching this film that it would be, you know, it would be a bit overrated. Not at all. As I expected, the cinematography from Roger Deakins was beautiful. This is one of the best looking films of the year. It was sublime, the cinematography. Absolutely sublime. Soundtrack, tick. Amazing soundtrack. And just all around, the story was really compelling. I think the only thing I really didn't like was that we didn't really get to know the characters, but I think that was the whole point. Same goes for Dunkirk by Christopher Nolan. But yeah, this is just one of those war films. This is one of the best World War I films. I don't know if I like this or Journey's End more. They're two really different yet really similar war films about World War I. But yeah, it's an amazing film. Some really heartbreaking scenes. The ending's beautiful. I do understand when people say this film is unrealistic at times, and I do really get that. But I still absolutely loved it. It was an absolute war epic. And if you do like your war films, and if you've not checked this one out, please go and watch it. It was amazing. Number 4 is the film on this list I've watched most recently, and it's Steve McQueen's Mangrove movie. Now, I've watched 3 of these Small Axe movies on BBC iPlayer. If you've not seen them, please go and watch them. This one is Mangrove. This is by far the best of these Small Axe movies. I thought some of the others were decent, but this one stood out to me. Performances all around the board, amazing. And this is just one of those films that you have to be in the right state of mind to watch. I started it one day and said to myself, you know, I'm not in the right state of mind to watch this movie, you know. I wasn't thinking straight during it, but then I watched it a few nights ago, and I wanted to genuinely punch my TV screen. This movie was so frustrating. The treatment of certain individuals was just horrific. And crazy to think this was only 40 years ago, and some of this stuff still happens now. I mean, it is just disgusting. But yeah, it was an incredible film. And this is kind of Trial of Chicago 7 done much better. Of course, Trial of Chicago 7 didn't make my honorable mentions. It was a decent film, as the direction was really bland. But this film basically does everything the Trial of Chicago 7 does well, but has incredible direction from Steve McQueen. Of course, Steve McQueen is an amazing director, but yeah, he just directed this one perfectly, and it just had its own personality rather than being quite cliche at times, having cliche music over cliche scenes. The ending was also really good too. So yeah, Mangrove makes number 4. I think with a rewatch, this movie could shoot up in this list too. Number 3 is an A24 movie. There's actually 2 A24 movies in my top 3, and this one is Waves. You know, this probably has the weirdest colour scheme I've ever seen in a film. It's so bright to look at, especially for the first hour or the first half. Can't remember exactly how long the film is, but yeah, the soundtrack is just one of those A24 soundtracks you can't get out of your head once you watch the film. And I do get when people say the first half was much better than the second half. I kind of agree with that. The first half was definitely better, but I still really love the second half. I thought the second half was still really, really solid. If it was just the second half was replicated for 2 halves, then the film would definitely not be this high on the list, but I still think the movie was exceptional, and the first half just made it for me. I don't really care really what happened in the second half. The first half was just unbelievably good. Some of the most riveting filmmaking I've seen for a long time. So yeah, Waves is at number 3, an amazing film. If you're an A24 fan and have not seen this film, please go and check it out. Number 2 is a French film by Céline Sciamma. I'm sure you can all guess it. And that is Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Some unbelievable filmmaking in this movie. I mean, the cinematography alone was beautiful. The performances, amazing. But what I want to focus on really briefly is just the story. The story was so compelling, and you know, cinematography aside, the story alone is just so beautifully planned out. It's unreal. I just don't get how someone can execute a film so perfectly. Any other year, this would have been number 1. The number 1 film is just a unique film that will never be replicated as well. But yeah, this is definitely my favourite romantic film ever. It's a French movie. Please go and watch it. It's available on Blu-ray. It's available on Criterion. It's available to buy online. It's an amazing movie, and even if you don't like romances, just give it a go. I'm sure you will be pleasantly surprised with it. It's stunning. It's beautiful. The soundtrack is beautiful. Also, I do love the French language too. So yeah, Portrait of a Lady on Fire makes my number 2 spot. Number 1, I'm sure you guys all know it by now if you've watched my review of this movie. That is Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse. Now, this movie is one of the weirdest films I've seen in my life. And after watching it, I was like, is this going to be my worst film of the year or my best film of the year? But yeah, it's my best film of the year. I mean, I've seen it 2 times since, and it's just unbelievable, this movie. It's unbelievable. The performances are amazing. Now, Robert Pattinson, don't get me wrong, he was really good. I'm not going to say he wasn't, because he was. But I genuinely think that Willem Dafoe gives one of the best performances ever. Not this year, not this decade, ever. He was amazing. The dialogue between the two was funny, was haunting, was scary. The soundtrack was so strange. It was just such a strange film. I think that's what made it so good. I know this film, you know, was on a lot of people's lists last year in the US. I knew it would be on mine. Shame it didn't get any Oscars. I think Willem Dafoe was completely robbed. But I definitely think if you're a fan of strange horror films, go and watch this one. You will either love it or like it, I feel. It's a very strange movie. It's very unique. You've probably never seen anything like it before. But I thought it was an absolute treat, and it's definitely one of the best looking films I've seen too. So that's my number 1. The Lighthouse is my favourite film in 2020. So guys, that is my ranking video for 2020. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like. Also subscribe, guys. Some amazing films last year in the US that are on this list. Just some unbelievably good films. Leave in the comments down below your list. I'll be really interested to see those. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.